Welcome back, everyone. This is still Politics Tonight. Tonight, we continue to get insight and more perspective into resolving River State political crisis. And joining me for this discussion tonight is a development analyst, Epelle. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Epelle. Good to see you.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you and your viewers, and Happy New Year in advance.
Merry Christmas to you too. Now, let's talk Rivers politics as peace is gradually returning to that state, about a month crisis. How will you describe the situation of things now?
Let's start with the cheering news of the coming back of the refinery, which is a huge plus to the government when eventually that refinery begin to produce. That's a good thing and it's like a Christmas gift to the people of River State and to Nigeria in general. I think if you look at the average Rivers man, we are peaceful people. We are law-abiding people, except when you touch us on issues that has to do with our rights. We will stand up and fight for our rights in the most peaceful way. And so I am glad that the people are going about their duties and pursuing their business in a much more peaceful way. And that's the usual attitude and behavior of a typical Rivers man. However, we are aware of the issues surrounding the political situation in River State, and we commend the effort that the president is taking. But I also think that there was some aspect of that decision that he was misguided. And in the course of this program, we will talk about it. I believe that he means well, and that's what any father of a nation should do, by making sure he finds solution to a crisis issue. But I believe that he was totally misguided in some of the decision that doesn't go well with me, in my personal opinion, and several people that I have talked to, including some of the people that were in the meeting.
Right, so we'll get there in the course of the program. But this tussle started in October and went on, but it took the intervention of the president for the deadlock to be broken. Why did it get to that level?
Exactly, Jumoke, that's a question that all the people involved should answer, because it shouldn't have lingered on and on and on, because they caused the problem, they had the solution, but they just wanted to keep fermenting the problem and creating crises that there was no reason for it. There was absolutely no reason for it. Otherwise, the question will be, what is going on between the present governor and the former governor? What is it that both of them are dragging? And I think they owe it a duty to every one of us to tell us what the issues were, and as we speak, these issues has thrown the state into a constitutional crisis. It's not going to be a political crisis, because the average Rivers man is a law-abiding citizen of this country. We don't like trouble, and there's not going to be any problem eventually. We will listen to voice of reasoning. We will take it as it comes. But I also know, and I can speak authentically, that there's a hand of God in all of this, and he will do that which he only him can do. And no one, not any of them, should try to play the God that they try to play, because it doesn't take us anywhere. So it is time for everyone to toe the line of peace and allow peace to reign.
Right. Dr. Epelle, let's now talk about the resolutions, 8 in number. And I mean, for the past few days, there have been a lot of reactions, which shows that some people are not satisfied with the resolution. How fair do you consider this points of resolution?
Very unfair, Olajimoku, very unfair, because I've always said it and I keep saying it. This president means well, except when he is misguided. The resolution, even though from the feelers and from what is making rounds, I understand that the governor had taken it, but there are many people that have not endorsed these decisions because it's Olajimoke in a short, succinct way. There were a lot of provisions in that decisions that were very unconstitutional and undemocratic. And I know the president, as much as possible, that he is a Democrat. And some of the decisions that were handed over to him, I don't believe that he saw to every line of that decision. Some of them were very undemocratic and unconstitutional because, let's face it, these lawmakers, are taking us for a ride. They left the party that they shouldn't have left, knowing the implication of 1999 Constitution, Section 109, subsection 1G. It's clear. There's no ambiguity. An elementary child will understand the implication of that provision. And they have not been able to come out to say, okay, we left because there were crises in PDP. That's a good reason for them to abandon the party that brought them to power. There are very amicable way of resolving issues like this. If they had taken a smart decision at the time they took that decision, it would be even easier for them to go to court and get a court injunction to say that we don't like what is going on in our party. As such, we are cross-carpeting. They didn't do that. They just woke up, didn't think well, didn't look at the lenses of the law, and took a decision that is gradually plunging the state into a constitutional crisis. I repeat, I'm choosing my word tonight. It's not going to be the crisis of the people trying to break the law. The average Rivers man will not break the law. And I'm using this opportunity to emphasize that we don't want any form of anarchy. That is what these enemies of democracy wanted, and we will not give it to them. I am an indigene of the state. I will do everything within my own power, as little as I have, to ensure that nobody will take advantage of this and create and ferment problem for the state, because a problem for Rivers State is a problem for Nigeria, and we will not allow that.
Right. Right. So how do you now think the issue of the lawmakers should be resolved?
Well, they've created the problem, they should solve it. The only way out, and I have consulted a lot of legal luminaries, who have presented their position, is clear. Two ways: go to court, get the court to interpret Section 109, subsection G. Get the court to interpret that, if you can. This other way is for INEC to conduct fresh election, period. It's laughable, to be honest with you, to say that they should going back to the State Assembly as APC members. It doesn't make constitutional sense. It doesn't even make political sense. It does not. And the president that I know was simply, if I use the word, hoodwinked into this kind of decision.
Dr. Pele, let's get this. Let's get this. A resolution has been made or has been reached. Why then do you think they should resort to the court again?
Because it's unconstitutional. Because as long as the status quo remain the way it is, okay, anything they do in that assembly is illegal. I don't need to be a lawyer to know that. I don't need an IQ of a mushroom to know that. If you cannot upturn illegality with illegality. And I'm saying this because I know the heart of this president. I know he means well. He may have his shortcomings, like every other
leader.
So
let's put this into proper perspective.
In terms of leading this country and giving this country the pride of place, I think he means well. Right. And nobody should upturn that.
Right. So let's put this into proper perspective. What aspect of your action is illegal for you?
The unconstitutional way the lawmakers left for another party without proper guidance. They didn't seek legal opinion. They didn't seek proper clarification. I challenge them. Let them come on your show with their own lawyer to give us and guide us with truth and proper interpretation of the law. Jumoke, I'll be more than happy to give you not at least 10 different sons who are friends who will be willing to come to your show and give proper perspective and interpretation of that law. I guarantee you that if you want me to do that, I can name reliable non-partisans. Don't forget, Jumoke, whether anybody who is watching this likes it or not, I am strictly apolitical. I am. I don't belong to APC. I don't belong to PDP. I will never be. Quote me any day. Let anybody record this. I'm not interested in politics. I don't hate politicians. I just hate crooked politicians. And so for this country, all of us are fighting for democracy and democratic values. And any Democrat, the antecedent of this president, as a Democrat, this man he made huge sacrifice for democracy to be what it is today. And nobody should go behind and wants to do things that will rubbish everything that he's trying to do.
All right.
Don't forget, I'm not here. I know that he is not perfect, just like I am not perfect, okay? But let's not create unnecessary crises where there is none.
Right. So talking about not creating unnecessary crisis where there is none, I mean, before the president's intervention, we all wanted peace. We wanted, a lot of persons were clamoring for the president to intervene. And now resolutions have been reached. The governor, who is very involved in this crisis, has said no price is too big to pay for peace in Rivers State. Why then do we still have loud voices with so many reactions to this issue?
What the governor says is both his personal opinion and his opinion as the governor of the state. Nobody will take that from him, okay? What we are saying is what the Constitution says. The Constitution is supreme, takes precedence over and above the interests of the governor, including the president. Jumoke, that's what it is. Both of them swore an oath, and they swore an oath to uphold the Constitution. Don't forget, let's go down memory lane. It's almost a similar thing of what happened to the current president. And the current president stood his ground. He was defending democracy. He was defending the Constitution. Everybody rallied around him. Everybody gave him a thumbs up. He persisted, and Lagos eventually won. And then he was a hero of democracy. Now, the man is making efforts to prove everybody wrong and become a hero of democracy, and somebody wants to zero everything that he has done. You know, it shouldn't be. Let's be honest. Well,
right.
I mean, the governor has he has accepted, according to him, what the issues are. That does not change the fact that we need to interrogate if the Constitution has been violated.
Right. So others have argued.
Case, yeah.
Others have argued that the agreement is not binding on anyone, hence may be broken. Do you support this?
Well, Jumoke, if I can hear you well, you said grievance is not. If you can repeat that question.
Others have said that the agreement is not binding on anyone. So I'm asking, do you support this?
The agreement, look, a typical reverse person.
Dr. Epelle. All right, tonight we're focused on Rivers State's political crisis and the resolutions that have been reached. And I've been speaking with a policy development analyst, Dr. Jake Epelle.
He's not saying otherwise. But we are looking at the issues from the lens of the Constitution. Otherwise, this will become a precedent. It will become something that somebody will wake up another day and say, oh, it happened during Siminalai and Wike and the president. So the same thing should repeat itself.
All right. Dr. Epelle, we lost you for a minute. We lost you for some seconds. So let me repeat that question. My question was, others have argued that the agreement is not binding on anyone, hence may be broken. So I'm asking, do you support this?
I don't. I don't support that people should break. Why would you sign an agreement with one who will break it? That is not integrity. I don't support, if he has agreed that he's going to stick to what is agreed, that's his decision, and it should be respected by that for that decision, you know, and he should stick to that decision. But that does not mean that everybody will agree with it. That's not democracy. We have to sometimes agree to disagree. And in this context, it's not a question of argument. It's a question of the point of law. Two things counts, okay? Legality and morality. Legality and morality, you know? And on both count, those who are commenting on it wins. Legally, it is not right. Morally, it is not right. But have they accepted it? The governor has accepted it, fine. Let him run with it. But however, that does not make it right. That's the truth.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. So we've also seen that the lawmakers have commenced the process by withdrawing the impeachment notice against Governor Fubara before going on a recess. So what do you think is the next step towards lasting peace in Rivers State?
First, they should have told us why they started the impeachment in the first place. If they are withdrawing it by directive, okay, there's also a possibility there was no reason for that impeachment. However, that's also a good thing, because if you follow the wrong path and you decided to right your wrong.
Dr. Epelle, the lawmakers gave a reason, and it was as a result of gross misconduct on the part of the governor.
Well, Jumoke, you know politicians, gross misconduct can be interpreted in several ways, and in several ways that does not make it right. I am not there with them, okay? I don't attend their meetings, okay? So I don't know what gross misconduct amounts to or is summed to. So I leave it there. However, these, like I said, these crises shouldn't have been there in the first place. We have a state that, you know, that is peaceful, that is running, that was given to the president. The state voted him. There is no need for this anarchy, for this showmanship. There was no need for it whatsoever, except personal interest. And wherever personal interest rises far and above the interests of the people, there will be resistance. So I don't know what the reasons were. Gross misconduct is a huge and a very serious word, and it can be broken into several parts and components, But thank God they've retracted, in the interest of peace. Let's toe that line. But that does not make their action right, In the first place, if they had thought through the process, if they had looked at the law, what the law and the implication, don't forget, Jumoke, this is not just a constitutional matter. It's also electoral act matter. On both counts, their action totally, absolutely is an aberration of both the 1999 Constitution and the Electoral Act. That's what it is.
All right, then. So let's talk about one key aspect of that resolution, which is the representation of the budget to the House. What do you make of this?
Again, you see, this whole thing is like a complicated process. It's a complicated relationship, when they left, there was a very small number of them that constituted. But the truth is that they are actually on the side of the law, okay? Because people have raised issues like, oh, how can 4 people and all that? But don't forget that these other people have left, supported by the Constitution. My thing is, which of them or their lawyers have been able to come up publicly to say we did not violate the law and followed it to a legal conclusion? None. As far as I'm concerned, none. If they know that what they did was absolutely right and legal, then let them come into the court of public opinion and change the narrative. But however, this budget has been presented, and the governor of the state, with his executive power and pen, has signed this budget into law. As far as I'm concerned, that is it. Now, this issue of representation, and they said in the interest of peace, and I keep saying this, you cannot obtain peace by just appeasing people and appeasing personal interest. They will never be satisfied. That's the truth. They will never be satisfied. They will come back and ask for a pound of flesh. And so going back and asking the governor to represent the budget and all that, again, if he agreed, he should stick to it. And we can leave him to it. It doesn't really matter, But again, that does not make it right. That's another issue. It has another legal implication. So there's a whole lot of problem that this thing has created. But
all right.
I'm not a pessimist. Okay, I'm always looking for solution. What's the solution? The solution is simple. The courts can write this if we have a good point of law. A fresh election can also correct this if that's the way to go. But again, the president, as a father of the nation, look, the true leader and the leadership that I know, the little that I know about Bola Tinubu, I'm not that close to him. I think he's one person that is humble enough to admit that he is wrong, and he will correct the wrong. And that's what true leadership is all about. You know, if I'm in his shoes, I will take a second look at all these decisions and see the proper way to handle it and get a satisfactory decision that is acceptable to all parties concerned. Now, I did
when
my
you
own
say, Dr. Epelle, can you hold on a bit? When you say satisfactory to all parties involved, who are those parties you're talking about? Because, I mean, it's fundamental to remember that this agreement was reached by all parties and signed by all of these parties. So who are these other parties you're talking about?
No, well, Jumoke, my dear, you know, one thing I doff my heart for your station, you know, you're objective. All
Thank
right.
you.
If you're not, you won't bring somebody like me. You're very objective. And that's why I try to analyze my issues objectively. Okay. Now, there are people who attended that meeting that are coming out now to speak and says that they didn't, you know, I made a statement in one interview and I said, you can be in the room and not have a voice. And today they are crying out that, yes, I was in the room, but I was not allowed to say anything, you know. And there are also people in that room that did not sign that. They refused to put their pen to the paper. They refused to sign the agreement, you know. And it's there in the open, you know. But however, like I said, the principal person is the governor and the people concerned. If those individuals who are the main people in the center of the issues, if both of them or three of them or four of them have agreed that this is the way to go, you know, I don't believe that anybody should break an agreement that you have agreed. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I need to say that we heard, or the report we got was that meeting lasted for 3 hours and everyone in that room were allowed to contribute to their own quota. But then the State Commissioner for Information has said Governor Fubara will implement the agreement. How confident are you that he will fulfill his own side of the bargain?
Like I said, I haven't met him in person. Secondly, he's probably a younger person, you know. I mean, I'm 62. I don't think he's 62, you know. From his antecedents, from his body language, from the fact that there are certain people that he has been able to put up with, even till this day, you will see that that young man is a humble person. He's honest and truthful, and he wants to serve. He wants to serve. So if he says he will, if he append his signature to that agreement, I think he will abide by it. You know, he will. But it's going to be a tough road to travel for some dissenting voices, even like myself. It's not acceptable to me. And that's, I mean, I may not matter because I'm not a politician. I won't contribute to what they say that in the State Assembly, but I am an indigene of Rivers, a bona fide indigene of Rivers State. And I have a say, and that's why I'm lending my voice.
All right, Dr. Epelle, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will look at other angles in this matter.